Thanks to those joining me live and to those that'll be joining me on archive. DStyle here. Make sure you throw a jab at that like button as you come in. It's really important. In fact, the senior agrees. I just did a sound check, and I have Calix here with me. What's up, Calix?
Check, check. 1 2 1 2. You hear me good?
Most definitely, and I want to make sure I have the sound check with Senior, who definitely wants people to throw a jab at the like button.
Look, man, you can knock this son of a bitch out right now. Now quit wasting time, man. Use your fucking jab, man. Use your jab.
So you want to make sure you utilize that jab to the like button. It sets everything up. When you throw a jab at the like button, the algorithm on YouTube puts that video more out there when people are watching boxing videos, and they want to look at related content. It's more likely to pop up. So it sets up the hook to that, subscribe button. It sets up the uppercut to that bell button. That way you're notified every time DStyleBoxing comes on live, 10 p.m. Eastern time, Mondays through Thursdays. And we're not doing it old school right now. We actually got Calix on the Hangouts. No more speaker.
That's right. Calix and DStyle together. It's like the Ghostbusters pulling out the proton backpacks and crossing streams. It's all good here. We're ready to attack.
Most definitely. All right. Respect to Gatti, says Incent 3 fighter. David Brant is supposed to start at 10 p.m. Yeah. I'm a little late. It's all right. It's all good. All right. But a couple of things to talk about. I want to get the fights out of the way, Calix.
Get it out of the way because I'm not looking forward to these fights.
But there's they're so bad you gotta mention it. Right. Khan versus Dib. What is your thought on this fight in Saudi Arabia? By the way, I mean Saudi Arabia probably been waiting for a boxing fight for I don't know how long. This is what they're giving him.
Well, they're putting Gatti in there. I mean, Gatti. You see where my mind's at, but they're putting Khan in there with a guy coming up from featherweight, and I thought he fought at 35 to Billy Dib. So they need to put Khan in there with somebody who has no punch at all. Going forward, he can't fight anybody with even mediocre punching power. Anything that touches Khan's chin is going to knock him out.
Right.
So they have to go in there with a guy who we can hang in there with for 12 rounds and outpoint. But the thing is, I think even at this point, his chin is so softened up that even a Billy Dib, who isn't, but he's not a welterweight. Like Khan's been at welterweight for how long? I mean, and he's fought even 154 pounders, even a guy who's at middleweight at this point, and Canelo. But so he's fought guys who can punch, so he's going to have no issues, I would think, with a Billy Dib coming up. But like I said, anybody could get him at this point. Anybody could get his chin. Khan just has no chin, man. The writing was on the wall when Bradis Prescott caught him in his first loss in 30 seconds or whatever it was, 20 seconds, and then the Danny Garcia fight, and so on and so forth. Anybody with the punch is going to get Khan.
Yeah, look, Billy Dib has a 50% knockout ratio, but he's a featherweight. You know what I mean? So, not to mention most of the knockouts were early in his career. Like a lot of fighters rack up a lot of knockouts early, and he's ranked 47th in the world in featherweight. Like we're not even talking welterweight, So, man,
he has fought at lightweight. Let's give him that. But he's moving up 12 pounds from the highest he's fought at. And like I said, man, Khan just needs a win at this point. But Khan is Khan. We've known this for years. And especially coming off the Terrence Crawford loss, which we all knew how that was going to go, but he just kind of embarrasses himself after the fights and the post-fight interviews too. He always makes excuses like, "Oh, it was a low blow, and I was just getting into the fight." It's like, come on, man.
Yeah. He was never in the fight, but I don't know, man. I don't know about the Amir Khan fight with Dib. I think Khan's going to win, but it always happens when he fights a guy that's coming up in weight. They always knock him down. Right. You think he'll knock down Khan at least once?
No, I don't know, man. I have no idea. But isn't that sad that we don't know of a guy who is a true featherweight? Isn't that sad? That speaks to Khan's chin. I mean, it's just
Absolutely.
It's like when Seth Mitchell was coming up at heavyweight. We knew, we were trying to hype him up. We knew at some point somebody was going to get to his chin and knock him out, and he was going to be done after that. It's the same thing with Khan. We always know there's going to be at some point in the fight when he's going to get hurt at least.
Right. Now on that same card, it doesn't get any better, Calix.
Fury?
Samuel Peter is going to be fighting Hughie Fury. In 2019, Samuel Peter, just a fun fact really quick. At first I thought, I swear to God, maybe it's another Samuel Peter. It can't be this. So I looked
maybe
it
it's
up.
Samuel Peter Jr.
Yeah, his son or something, right? I looked it up. I like, well, wait a minute. Like, there hasn't been another Samuel Peter since 1926. So, and just a fun fact, there's like 4 Samuel Peters from 1906 to 1926 that went 2-2. They batted 500. It's just a fun fact. But this Samuel Peter, a little better, but definitely way past his prime.
Yeah.
I don't even know what to say about it. It's a terrible matchup.
I don't know how they found him. Look, I literally didn't know until you texted me earlier. You were like, Samuel Peter's fighting this weekend. I was like, what? And I looked it up. He actually fought in a bar room on Facebook Live earlier in the year, and he actually fought twice in the span of 2 weeks, I believe, if I read that correctly. So, I think he lost one of the fights. So in a bar room. So Samuel Peter is 2019 Samuel Peter. This isn't 2007, 2008 Samuel Peter you're going to see. We haven't seen anything from Samuel Peter really in a decade, over a decade probably, that is worth anything. I think Vitaly Klitschko, I think that was like 2009, 2010 where Vitaly Klitschko beat him up pretty soundly. So, no, man. Look, Hughie Fury, he's a guy that they have to bring up. They have to keep him in fights that are, I don't even know how to say it. Like the style matchups have to be right for him. He's a guy with not much punching power. So if they're going to try to angle him into a title fight, and I don't mean a real title fight, pick off one of these guys with a meaningless belt just to say he's a heavyweight champion. It's got to be a guy that stylistically fits him. Like I said, not much punching power. A guy who's okay technically, but I guess Sam Peter's going to keep him busy.
Most definitely. Well, what happens if Sam Peter wins? Because the power never goes away.
It doesn't. But the reflexes go away and the legs go away, so you got to set up that power. So, I mean, what we know about Fury is he does move okay. He's him and his cousin. His cousin's a great mover. Tyson Fury, a guy who, in my opinion, is the best heavyweight out there. I think he's a great fighter, but Hughie Fury is far, far, far from his cousin. Far, far, far from his cousin as far as talent level, but they're both technically sound. So he is a good mover, does have good lateral movement, good technical fighter. So I just don't see him getting caught by that shot, but man, we didn't see Ruiz beating Anthony Joshua either.
Right. Speaking of that concept that Dib has a shot, because look at what happened to Joshua, he said. Any thoughts about that?
I mean, it's boxing.
Yeah.
One punch can change things. And Khan,
especially Khan.
Khan has an awful chin, man. One of the worst chins I've ever seen in my life. And it's sad because when he was coming up, you could see the talent there. Just the hand speed, how he put punches together. Everything technically was there. He just had that Achilles heel, the chin. He just cannot take a punch.
Yeah, he just his punch resistance has never been that good. I'm surprised he survived that Maidana fight, to be honest with you.
I know.
But he did always have heart, though. He does have I don't know what happened in the last fight. I think he was just getting embarrassed. But, nonetheless,
and the age shows too.
Most definitely. And finally, in Osaka, Japan.
Mm-hmm.
All right. A little better of a matchup, but I still think it's unnecessary. But still, a lot better than these fights. Robert Brant versus Murata in Osaka, Japan. Well, what are your thoughts about this rematch?
The reason I don't think it's meaningless is Murata was the favorite going into the first fight. I think a pretty clear favorite, and then he was just outclassed
Yeah.
by Brant. Looked terrible in the fight, and so Murata gave Brant, or Brant gave Murata the fight in the U.S. Or Murata gave Brant the fight in the U.S. in the first one. So Brant's like, I'm going to return the favor and go out there and fight. This is actually a big fight in Japan, from what I'm reading. So it's
Oh,
not a
definitely.
meaningless fight. It's going to be a big fight out there. And if he wins the fight, they've been trying to angle for that Golovkin versus Murata fight in Japan for a while. That would be a mega fight in Japan.
Yeah, in Asia,
I
definitely.
think it would be, yeah, and I think that would be an easy fight for Golovkin, obviously. So it's a fight that he would get a decent payday and win easily. So Murata needs this fight. He needs it badly. After watching the first fight, though, I don't know. Just watching, I don't know what he can do
Mm.
to improve from that first fight. I'm not sure.
Do you think he could maybe throw his hands more? Maybe the judges there could give it to him.
He has to, because
But 'cause they can always say, "Oh, he wanted you to activity." It is in Japan.
yeah, but the thing is, Brant just overwhelmed him with activity in the
Yeah.
first fight. So if he can't stump that activity some kind of way, he's got to match him with the activity. So if that happens, I hope that happens. That would be an excellent fight. If both guys just go out there, balls to the wall, if Murata decides that's the way I have to win, other than stink it out, I hope he doesn't go that route. I hope he decides I have to beat him with activity, and that would be a hell of a fight.
I agree. I got Robert Brant winning this fight by decision again. I think it might be close on the scorecards. There might be some funky business there, but I think Brant will win enough to where they can't even rob it from him. I don't know how you see this fight going.
I think it'll be closer, and I actually thought the first fight was closer than the scorecards, but I think it'll be closer. And you always got to worry about the judges in Japan, or in the foreign country, the home fighters country. So Brand's got to worry about that. But I'm hoping Murata wins this fight. I think it'll be better for boxing. It'll shake the middleweight division up a little bit and give some guys like Golovkin and guys at the top another fighter to fight. Just boxing, people don't watch the Japanese fights a lot, but if you watch those fights, man, those people are crazy about boxing out there. And
Definitely.
they have
Combat sports in general, they're crazy about it.
Yep.
I mean, they watch MMA over there. They watch kickboxing. They watch boxing. I mean, if they're a good example in terms of they know the difference between sumo and boxing and MMA. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
But most definitely, man. And I want to, before we dive into the other topics really quick, Bradley Appreciation Week will start on Friday on the 12th. Well, what were your thoughts about him pulling the upset against your boy Miguel Cotto?
I was surprised by that. My boy Fry's still not getting love, but I expected that. But I was surprised. I thought there was going to be Cotto's week coming up, and I was looking forward to speaking about the Rojo, and the iPad, bringing the iPad back out. But props to Bradley, though. Undervalued fighter. We talked about that a couple weeks ago. Undervalued fighter. And I think it'll be interesting when 5 years comes up, the Hall of Fame talk, if Bradley will make it into the Hall of Fame. He's one of those weird cases that a lot of people are going to be like, Bradley, the Hall of Fame, really? But I think he might end up in there one day. I'm not sure.
Well, he definitely has an appreciation week coming. There's a storm coming, a desert storm.
The desert storm.
You guys be on the lookout for that. We do have a eliminator this week. It's pretty obvious who's going to win, but there's Roy Jones Jr., Paul Williams, Winky Wright, and Froch. Froch is staying alive. It looks like he might stay alive he has one more shot at it, one more crack next week. But Roy Jones will more than likely, it's pretty obvious, is going to advance against Hopkins.
Pensacola, stand up.
Well, your boy Cotto, Hopkins, and Eric Morales and Roy Jones. Who's the favorite going into that poll next week?
Name them again.
Miguel Cotto, Bernard Hopkins, Eric Morales, and Roy Jones Jr.
I'd probably say Roy Jones, but I think Cotto is going to be right there. Morales has been there for a little while, huh? Surprised he's not getting a nod.
Well, he advanced. He advanced from eliminator.
Okay.
Right? Pretty handily last week, actually. But He's advanced. Make sure you go to DStyleBoxing, to my channel, go to community, scroll down to vote, and you can vote on the eliminator. Vote for Williams or Frotch, man. They need to stay alive. Okay, like Roy Jones can advance. All right. But Batman Twilo, he wants the Punisher to win. Well, he needs to stay alive. That's for sure.
I want to see that too.
Most definitely. Shout out to Paul Williams. All right. Now, with that said, really quick, Calix, let's talk about boxing movies right now. All right. What are, there's some, I have my 5 listed. You know what I mean? You don't have to have a list, of course, but what's your favorite, if you had to pick 2 or 3, what are your favorite boxing movies ever in history? And I want to know what the chat thinks. What are some of your best boxing movies as well?
Well, I can name more than 2 or 3, but if I have to keep it short, Rockies 1, 2, and 4 were special to me. Raging Bull, obviously, in there. $1 Million Baby. The Cinderella Man is one that was incredible. I don't know if you've seen Cinderella Man, just an incredible movie. The Fighter with Mark Wahlberg about Mickey Ward, and we had the privilege of interviewing Mickey Ward on Rope-a-Dope Radio right before that movie came out, so that was cool.
Yeah.
Another underrated, undervalued boxing movie there. So it's difficult for me to narrow it down to 3 because I have so many favorites.
Definitely.
Even a movie like The Hurricane, which isn't necessarily a boxing movie, but it's about a boxer. Obviously, Hurricane Carter. So just a lot of good movies. Teen Wolf 2. I'm just kidding. I don't know if you remember Teen Wolf 2 when he for whatever reason, Teen Wolf 1.
Teen Wolf.
Yeah, Teen Wolf was about the basketball player. He's the greatest basketball player of all time, and then all of a sudden, Teen Wolf 2, he shows up as somebody else, and then he shows up as a college boxer. Just starts knocking guys out. Yeah, you never seen Teen Wolf 2? He's knocking college boxers out the ring
as a wolf.
Yes, as a wolf.
Isn't that like juicing? Like, isn't that like what's going on? I never heard about this.
His testosterone levels were way too high, but they let him fight.
Who went in there and boxed a wolf? Like, what?
Well, who the hell played basketball against a wolf?
I don't know.
That was always amazing about that is the guy just came out as a wolf one day, and they just kept playing the game. It's like, you're not going to walk out the game. He's a wolf, and he's playing basketball. It's incredible, but yeah, but nonetheless, man, Rocky 1, 2, and 4, I'd probably say are my 3 favorite. Just the Rocky series. I know they're not realistic. I know we can go into detail about about some ridiculous things about Rocky, but just the story was incredible. But $1 Million Baby was phenomenal too.
Well, that's definitely a good movie. $1 Million Baby. I gotta say, man, The Fighter to me is probably my. Again, I could have a different list tomorrow, but for some reason today, I just felt like The Fighter is definitely up there.
You would have that. That's your favorite.
That's probably my favorite. Yes, in terms of, I just it's based on a true story. Although they kind of exaggerate, like that belt they fight for is not one of the legitimate belts. That's another story. The IBU or whatever the hell it was. I'm like, what the hell is that? But they didn't have to even put that in the movie, to be honest with you. But I really like that movie a lot. I think Wahlberg does a good job, and Bale was phenomenal in that movie.
He was, and I know at some point they were talking about doing The Fighter 2 and going into the Arturo Gatti trilogy. I'm wondering if that's still a thing, if they're still going to do that. But and I was happy that they ended the movie that way, because you can go more into detail with Mickey Ward, but it could have got a little too complex. And I think they put it together well.
Well, I always thought they were going to do a part 2 where he faces Gatti. I thought that was like a.
I'm hoping that's still a thing.
Yeah,
because from what I understood, your boy Turtle from Entourage was supposed to play Arturo Gatti in the sequel. That's what they were saying. That's what they were saying. He was getting in shape and he was going to play Arturo Gatti. So I'm not sure where they're at in that. If they're still coming out with The Fighter 2, we'll see. I hope so.
Well, $1 Million Baby is. I think Clint Eastwood is great. Freeman is awesome in that movie as well. Yeah. I like that one where because it kind of shows the culture in a lot of boxing gyms. on how someone has to be watching at all times. Remember, I don't remember the name of the kid that was always like was a little mentally challenged, and but they let him work out in the
Right.
gym or whatever, and
Jump rope,
yeah, he was always talking about he's gonna face
shadow box.
yeah, but and then they had that asshole fucking beat him up, and then Freeman gets in there and knocks him out.
Yeah.
Like I thought that was great. One of the best scenes in that movie is when, after her injury, I forget the name of the character. It already the character and the actress. I forgot her name too.
Hilary Swank.
Hilary Swank, when she's in the bed and stuff after the injury, and her mom comes in, and man, it was just so depressing seeing them come from Disneyland or whatever the hell it was.
Yep.
And her daughter's like in the hospital.
Yeah.
And then I remember the first time I watched it, I'm like, oh man, she's gonna sign this paper, man, and these fucking assholes don't deserve a penny.
Right.
And she tells her to go to hell or whatever she tells her, and the mom takes off angry.
Yeah.
And when Clint Eastwood walks in, he says, "Should somebody count to 10?" I just thought that was a badass scene. Undisputed, the other ones suck, man. The other Undisputed suck, but the first one, well, Wesley Snipes, I think that's a badass movie. What do you remember? You like that movie?
I like the first one, and Wesley Snipes in his prime, like 90s Wesley Prime, was just a badass. He was a movie star, man. Like that guy made so many classics. White Men Can't Jump. So many the Blade trilogy. He was just phenomenal actor, and yeah, he was a badass in that. And once again, we're not talking about the realistic, because if you look at boxing movies, these fight scenes just aren't realistic. They're just not, especially Rocky, which I'm sure we'll get into. But I'd say out of the Rocky 1, 2, and 4, though, my favorite boxing movie would be Cinderella Man. I just thought that movie was phenomenal. I thought Ron Howard did a good job on that, putting that one together, and that was just a great movie.
Yeah, and people don't understand that was a big upset, man. Like he was not supposed to beat Max Baer,
right?
So that was a big upset at that time. It was such a big upset that when Schmeling when he became number one contender, they did not want to put Braddock in the ring with him because they didn't want the belt to go to Germany.
Yep.
So they were like, well, we'll have him fight Joe Louis first.
Mm-hmm.
And if you know the story behind that, I don't like what Braddock and his people, the conditions that they had for Louis to get that title shot. I don't like that at all, but that's another story. It doesn't take away from the actual movie itself, though. Right. Resurrecting the Champ is another movie I love, man. That's the one with Samuel L. Jackson.
I did not see that one.
He's a homeless guy, and there's a writer out of Denver who finds him, and at first he tells him he's someone else that he isn't, and it makes him look stupid as far as the article, man, but that he put out. But that's a good movie. Anyone who hasn't seen Resurrecting the Champ, I highly recommend that movie. Dickstown, love that movie. All right. Boxing Dialogue put Danger. I don't think I've seen Danger. Have you seen Danger, Calix?
I have not seen that either.
What about Southpaw? I wasn't a big fan of that movie, but did you like that movie?
No.
I did not like Southpaw at all.
Yeah, there's some bad boxing movies too. Another one is Raging Bull. I don't know if I mentioned that. That's just one of those classic movies. That's one of those movies that would go down as like one of the top 100 movies of all time. Not sports movies, not boxing, just
it's like Rocky,
how it's put together. However, it's not one of my favorites just because it's so damn depressing. It's so depressing. But I love movies like that and like Cinderella Man because it takes you back to those. I thought it did a good job of taking you back to those times in boxing and how those boxers were treated, what they had to go through, as opposed to top fighters these days who pretty much have it pampered to compared to what those fighters went through.
So before we segue to and I'm gonna write down Danger, Boxing Dialogue. I can definitely watch that. So for sure, Great White Hype. Do you remember that movie? That movie's great, man. Batman 2 put that.
Was that Damon Wayans? That was Damon Wayans, right? Yeah, that was fun. That was a good one.
That's a great movie. The Great White Hope. You ever watch that movie? It's based on the Jack Johnson story.
No, I haven't seen that one.
I watched that
I gotta
movie,
catch that one.
but man, it doesn't tell the full. It really doesn't tell the full picture. You
All
know.
right, because I'm a big Jack Johnson fan when I go back into my boxing history, so I gotta watch that one then.
Yeah, definitely. And then of course, to segue, what about the Creed movies? I love
I
them.
still haven't seen the second one, but I like the first one.
The first one's great.
I didn't think it was great. I thought it was
Okay.
really good. But I heard the second one was even better than the first. I'm not sure if
I
that's
like
true
both.
yet. I haven't seen the second one. But yeah, I like the first one a lot.
Yeah, yeah. I like the first one.
Michael B. George is just good, man. He's just a good actor.
He did good. Yeah, yeah, definitely. And then the second one, I think you'll like it. It's a mix of Rocky 3 and Rocky 4, kind of. It's kind of like you mix those two together, in my opinion. But
Which
you
would
gotta,
be great.
yeah. So that's great. So there you go, guys. And if you're watching Archive, let me know in the comment section what do you think. What are some of your favorite and which boxing movies do you recommend? All right. What do you think is the worst boxing movie you ever seen? Before we move on, like the worst one ever.
Teen Wolf 2.
Teen Wolf 2. So I shouldn't even bother watching that.
You know,
Oh, actually, I remember Streets of Gold. Remember that movie?
no.
Okay, it's an okay movie. I would recommend it. It's worth the watch. You know, but with that said, I want to go ahead and talk about Rocky here. I don't know if you caught him, Calix, but I did a bunch of post-fight Rocky videos today.
I didn't see those yet.
I did a post-fight as if it actually happened. It's surreal, but
Just imagine if that actually happened, though. That would be incredible.
right, right. I was calling a cherry pick on wrong for the first one for Apollo Creed, but you need to check that out, man. Which is your of all the Rocky movies, not including the Creed? I think to me that's kind of like a
No, I don't.
its own
I don't count the
separate
Creed.
franchise.
Yeah, it's like a spin. Creed's like a spin-off.
Yeah,
Like,
definitely.
yeah.
What's your favorite? Haplotype says Streets of Gold was good. Yeah, I liked it. You should catch that one. Which one? Which one's your favorite, Calix?
The original, the first.
Numero uno.
Yeah, just because it's the introduction and it sets up the whole story and it's
Right.
realistic. You know, he loses the fight, but he goes the distance. Just the first one was just perfect. It's perfect. To me, there's not, besides the fight scenes and some of the crazy stuff that happens behind that, which once again, I'm sure we're going to get into, but it's just a perfect story.
Yeah, you know, it's a good movie. Like, forget it's the one Rocky movie that you can like. My grandma can watch it. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Because it's an actual. It has a plot and it's more than just a boxing movie. You know, from there to me, from Rocky 2 and on, they were boxing movies. They were like action movies to me.
Yep.
You know, maybe not Rocky 2, maybe not so much, but it's you can tell it was kind of diverting to that. And by Rocky 3, they were literally they were just boxing movies. But the first one, man, it's the one movie that you can go back and it is a feel good story. I will say that. You could even say that it has a life of its own. Like that's the one movie out of all of them that it can stand on its own, and you don't need the other movies for it. You know, it can end right there.
Yep.
So, do you think besides that one, besides the original, because I agree it is my favorite Rocky movie, but besides that one, which one would you say from 2 to 5 or 6 even? What you say is your favorite Rocky movie?
I would rank them this way. I would rank them 1, 2, 4, 3, 6, 5. 5 being my least favorite. However, 5 wasn't. People say 5 was terrible. It's almost like the Fast and Furious Tokyo Drift of the. You remember Tokyo Drift? It's like, what the hell happened there?
I like Tokyo Drift.
I do too. That's the thing. Like Tokyo Drift by itself is like, oh, okay, it's a good popcorn movie there. It's a good movie. However, if you put Tokyo Drift in with like the other 18 Fast and Furious, it doesn't really stand up to the other ones because the other ones are so great. But Rocky 5, I didn't think it was terrible. Yeah, I thought it was a decent, good movie. Rocky Balboa, Obviously, once again, not realistic. I mean, nobody wants to see a 60-something-year-old fighter go in there with the heavyweight champion because there's nobody else for the heavyweight champion to fight off of a video game. However, I thought it was a good movie. I enjoyed. I went to the movie, watched it. I enjoyed it. But it is my fifth favorite out of all of them. I just thought 1 and 2 were perfect, and 4 I thought was great too. Um, 3 and 6 I thought were really good, and then I would put 5 more in the decent to good category. But 1 and 2 were just incredible.
Yeah, Haplotype says the acting in Rocky 1 was excellent, and I agree. I
Yeah,
think the
it was.
acting was really, really good.
It's phenomenal.
Yeah.
It's phenomenal.
What, but I will say this. Here, like 1 is my favorite. After that, it's 2. So we're in agreement right there.
Right.
But then I have 3 as my third favorite. So like
I can understand that. I just thought 4 was great with
Well, I'm about to surprise you.
okay.
And then after that, it's 5.
No.
After that, it's 6.
No, you can't
And
say
after
4 is the
that,
word. No,
it's
you
4.
can't say 4. No, you can't do.
I don't like.
I understand it's
Rocky 4 that
subjective.
much.
How do you not like it? Like it's freedom
It's
versus
over.
communism.
It's
And
over.
no, it definitely plays to the stereotypes hard. I understand that, but I thought
Well, it's not just that.
I thought that's Rocky. Like that sets up the good versus the evil perfectly, and then Drago kills Creed, our American heavyweight,
I hear
and
you. I
then
hear you.
and then Rocky's got to go over there for vengeance, and then he gives a
So
speech at the end.
look. So 1 and 2, no need to debate because we agree with that. 3, really, I like the Clubber Lang, that that old school feel of that top contender, which you really don't get anymore because there's so many titles in boxing. You know what I mean?
Mick dies.
Yeah. Mig dies, very emotional,
It
and
is, yeah.
you almost feel like this, like you want Rocky to come back. And so I like that movie. Right now, it's ridiculous. We're gonna get to that in a little bit, but it's a movie. Rocky 5. I love that movie. I love Rocky 5. I think it's a really well done movie.
Good movie.
I think the acting, in my opinion, is superior to Rocky's 3 and 4. Okay, and 5. All right.
But at the end of the day, DStyle, it's a street fight. Like,
yeah, but that's what I like about it. Like, I like the fact that it's like in the streets and he's fighting the heavyweight champion of the world, and he takes him and it beats him, even though he's older, because it's out of his element. You know what I mean? Like that's I kind of like that. I like the whole story of him, like, trying to get back into boxing, and even though Adrian's being a bitch and won't even let him do that. You know what I mean?
She got progressively worse. Like, remember
Right.
4?
Yeah.
I think it was 4 when she's at the top of the staircase. You can't win. It's like, how do you tell somebody that? And then 2, she's like lying on her deathbed, and then finally she gives him the green light. It's like, finally, all right, we can get on with the movie. He can start training. It's like, come on, Adrian,
Right.
loosen up. But 4, when she pissed me off when she yelled at the top of the staircase, like, you can't win. It's like, what do you mean he can't win?
Yeah.
He's Rocky. But I can't get over this. Like, I can't believe you think 5's better than 4. Like,
I do.
4, Apollo dies, man. That's his boy.
I want to get to 4. I want to get to 4, but for 6, I think 6 is a great movie. I think Rocky Balboa, to me, very underrated movie. A lot of people talk a lot of trash about this movie. Yes, it's kind of unbelievable that he's like in his 50s and it's going to box heavyweight champion of the world.
Not kinda. It's very unbelievable.
Yeah, but compared to some of the other shit that he does in the other movies, it's really not that bad.
And not only that, it's once again, it's good acting in that movie. It is good acting.
The acting's really good, man. I could feel the sadness in Rocky's voice. I'm talking about Adrian
when he goes to the cemetery, and then his son. They did good with that storyline too with his son. And that's one thing I'll say about the Rocky series, man. He finds the storylines. Even going into Creed, spinning off there, he finds the storylines, man. He always taps into your heart with that. He's done a good job with that series.
Let's get a Rocky 4. All right. Rocky 4 to me is the most lame out of all of them. Like, that's just my opinion. I know I'm in the minority in this. I know I am, but it's over the top, dude. Okay. Like,
Speaking of over the top,
first of all, that
another great Sly Stallone movie.
oh yeah, Over the Top. By the way, great movie. Great. Like he actually made a movie about arm wrestling, like entertaining. Like I couldn't believe it. Did you ever try the over the top move when you? Did you ever try that?
Over the Top was great, man.
Every time I try, that's illegal. You can't do that. Like what? Stallone did it. Like what's going on? How do you get away with that in the movie? Anyway, isn't it like a ref right there? Like what?
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. Dude, still, I can't get over the fact that you like 5 better than 4.
Now it doesn't mean I don't like 4. I like all the Rocky movies. You know what I mean? But it's just over the top to me.
Well, let me try to sway you. Let me try to pitch it. I gave you the storyline, like why it's great. He played the good versus evil, great there. Freedom versus communism, good versus evil. The man comes to the United States and kills his best friend, his brother from another mother, in the ring. And he says before the fight, if he dies, he dies. Like, and then he stares Rocky down after he kills his man. All right, so Rocky has to go over there for vengeance. It's just an incredible storyline, and I almost feel sometimes that 4 is my favorite. I almost feel that way sometimes. Like it's just the training montage in 4. I think is the best.
Ridiculous. Like he's in the middle.
No. Listen, 4. He is, and then he goes at the top of the mountain and he yells, "Drago, Drago!" Look,
Drago. Yeah, I know. Yeah.
He's like got the logs on his shoulders. I think that
the
4
whole movie is a montage. The whole movie. I feel like I'm watching a montage.
The training in 4 is incredible. Just incredible.
I just don't buy the whole. I'm gonna go fight for free in Russia, and like I just don't buy. Like I don't. I just don't get. Like okay, I just think they tried too hard. Like we're gonna kill Apollo because like they didn't have to kill the guy. Like I just don't. And even if they did kill him, fine. But I just think like the whole. It's just cheesy to me. It's like a typical 1980s action flick to me. You know what I mean? Like, and it's the whole thing's a montage. I feel like I'm watching a montage of like it's crazy to me.
I just urge you to go back and watch it. Watch 4 and 5 back to back, and tell me you still think 5. I think you gotta watch. I don't think you've watched them back to back. I think you gotta watch them back to back and tell me that you still like 5 better than 4. I just don't believe it.
Reminds me a lot about it. Just it really connects you a lot back to Rocky 1. In my opinion.
But it's very, very. Rocky 1 gave you hope. Rocky 5 is very, very, very dark. Like very dark. It's the darkest out of all 6. It's too dark. But to me, Rocky's about it's dark, it's grit, it's about callus on the hands, all that stuff. But blue collar, but it gives you hope at the end. There's always light at the end of the tunnel. 5 left you no light at the end of the tunnel. He even alludes to it going into 6. Like I didn't like how this series ended. He had to make the 6 to sort of make up for the 5th. It was like I said, man, it was Tokyo Drift. Like
what do you think of this?
It didn't live up to the expectations.
Here's where I'll agree with you because the reason it was that dark, Rocky was supposed to die in that movie.
Yeah.
Right. He was supposed to die, but I don't. Who's the Warner Bros. Whoever it is that does the MGM, whatever. Whoever owns the rights to the movies or whatever, or produces them, they did not give Stallone the green light. They basically told him, no, we're not going to kill Rocky. Like we
really
kill. Yeah, they told him it's like killing Superman or it's like killing Batman. It's just we're not going to do it. But he was supposed to die in that movie. Did you know that?
No, I didn't know that.
Yeah,
I didn't.
Rocky was supposed to die in that movie.
And Tommy Gunn was great. I did enjoy Tommy Gunn. Tommy Morrison was actually a hell of a fighter in his prime. So I liked all that, man. I liked 5. I don't understand how you get to liking 5 over 4. I understand it's subjective. We all like our own things, but 4 was great. 4 was phenomenal. The training montages were great. I don't care what you say. How he ditches the Russian bodyguards and runs to the top of the mountain in the snow. It was just phenomenal.
It's her. I mean, it's great. It's just it's too much montage for me.
It was so emotional seeing Apollo go down though. like you said, they could have Adonis Stevenson him, just gave him a little, had him in the hospital for a week.
Yeah, wouldn't it have been better like Apollo in the hospital bed? Like, yeah, like I don't know, just watching Rocky fight or something. I just think they could have done a better job, in my opinion.
Yeah,
I will say this though: the post-fight press conference. I'm sorry, the pre-fight press conference. He was dead already for the post-fight, but the pre-fight press conference. I mean, Apollo's great. I mean, that's the best acting he did the whole series, right?
Apollo was great the whole time, though. He just was.
Yep.
And I thought he was the best fighter out of everybody. But I don't know if we're going to get to that. But
I just want to challenge Chapo Tap on one thing before we get to the best fighters in the Rocky series. He says 4 is the most unrealistic of all of them. I will say this: is 4 more realistic or 3? Because 3, the guy changes his entire style. Okay,
he does.
Like in one training camp.
Yes, let's please talk about 3 for a second.
Yeah.
Okay. He's too much of a brawler. Okay, so we need to move against this guy. So he actually did move good in the training sessions, but he brings him to the gym. I did like all that, but the beach scene when they're sprinting, and then he can't even come close to beating Apollo. And then all of a sudden he beats Apollo, and then they run into the water and start hugging each other. I thought that was a little suspect. I didn't like that at all.
Yeah.
But they were both in phenomenal shape in that. But yeah, the fact that he trained and he switched his whole style in one fight, it's like, yeah, come on, that's unrealistic. And then speaking of unrealistic, let's talk about 2. There's a double knockdown, and Rocky gets up at 9, and then Apollo falls down, and Rocky's like using the ropes to get up, slow motion. It's like, come on.
That was like a 50 count.
Yeah, there was a long count in the first one, I believe, too. I think that
I think Clubber Lang got a short count. Like Clubber Lang, they counted out quick.
I think Rocky got a long count in the first one, if I'm not mistaken. I think Rocky got an 11 count against Apollo. We came that close to not getting a Rocky 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 or 6. Just think if he got the correct count there. So
yeah, absolutely, man. I don't know, man. I think Rocky 3, how he just transforms himself, it's just the most unrealistic thing ever. But I mean, it's a movie. I mean, crazier things happen in movies.
It's like when Buddy McGirt told Arturo Gatti to box against Floyd Mayweather. It's like, what?
But not just that. Not just that. Like, it's kind of like, imagine if like Gotti lost the fight and then Mayweather takes him in and like trains Gotti Mayweather style, and then in the next fight, like he looks like Mayweather in the ring. I mean, that's how insane this was. It's insane.
I just can't get over that though. Buddy McGirt was telling him, "You got to box this guy. You got to box." I was like, "No,
right.
no, you don't have to box him at all."
Well, what are your just to segue into this? Rank them from best to not so great, or I guess they're all great, but who's the best fighter? And then rank them 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1 being the best in the Rocky series, in your opinion.
I'd say Apollo Creed's the best, and I understand. Oh, Rocky beat him in the second fight. The first one was questionable, head to head, and then he loses to Drago, and then Rocky beats Drago, so therefore Rocky's got to be better than him. But you got to remember, in the first one, Apollo's like the greatest heavyweight of all time, right? Like Joe Frazier's coming in the ring and shaking his hand, and
right.
So Apollo's supposed to be the best, undefeated, perfect KO percentage, passes the eye test. I always thought Apollo was the best one out of all of them. And yes, he got killed by Drago, but he was old and it was an exhibition match. He didn't train for that fight. He wasn't prepared. And Rocky just had the perfect style for him. So I would say Apollo is the best. Apollo's the best, man. He's the best. I would say Rocky is the second best. Let's get this out the way. Mason the Line Dixon's the weakest out of all of them. I would put him last.
Oh, okay.
I would have Tommy Gunn ahead of him.
Do you think Tommy Gunn knocks out Mason the Line Dixon?
Yeah. I think he beats Mason the Line Dixon. Maybe that's
what about Union Kane? Do you think Union Kane versus Mason the Line Dixon? Who wins that fight?
I don't know.
I got Union Kane. I think Union Kane takes because Union Kane took Tommy Gunn to the limit. You know what I mean? So it was a good fight, and he became world champion before. So it's
Yeah, but Tommy Gunn under the guidance of Rocky,
yeah.
I would put ahead of Mason the Line Dixon. I would probably put third Ivan Drago. Ivan Drago was just a beast, man. I'd put him ahead of Clubber Lang.
Yeah.
So that would probably be my ranking right there.
Wow. So Rocky's two, right? I'm assuming.
Rocky's two, yeah.
I agree with you. I think Apollo's the best, and it was confirmed in the first Creed movie that Apollo won that third secret fight. Right, with he won a secret fight. Rocky admitted that
I don't
Apollo
even remember
beat him in the
them.
third fight.
I don't remember them talking about that in the Creed movie.
Yeah, he told, "Oh, you guys had a secret fight, right? And how do you know that? How did you know that? You remember that scene?" And then, well, who won? And he said he did. That's what he said. So he did win that third fight against Rocky.
All right, well, good.
Are you surprised by that? Is that, or did you always think Rocky won?
No, I've always, and I'm glad that they talked about that because I forgot about that scene because I always felt like Rocky should tip his hat to Creed as much as possible because Creed was as much. There is no Rocky without Creed.
True.
I mean, just think about that. Just think if somebody else played that character or if they undersold the nemesis. Apollo Creed was just the perfect nemesis in those first two movies because he was so likable that you could see him joining up with Rocky in the third fight.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, very likable character. You could tell they wanted to keep him around. I mean, he's definitely a big part, and it's no surprise there's a spin-off called Creed.
Right.
But I got Creed 1. I agree with Rocky number 2. And
don't put Tommy Gunn ahead of
no. But I'll agree. I just kind of hate that we were kind of on the same page here. Because I can't deny Drago, even though I mean that dude was like, look, you can't. Come on, the dude had dudes in white lab coats in his training camp. Okay, I mean you can't. Like, what's going on here?
They're like shooting him up
with
like he's a robot.
Probably last. Okay,
he's like 50 Cent in the club video. Like he's just got white coats all around him. He's like in this training facility.
Right.
They're like building the perfect robot, the perfect human.
That's suspect. Okay, but anyway, there was no testing back then, and we all know Rocky was like Rocky. All of a sudden had a great physique by Rocky 3. He was on some too, right?
Oh yeah, they busted him on that. They busted him.
So and then I do agree, Clubber Lang has to be 4, and then to me it's like a distant 5th after that. Like I think
distant, very distant.
Like Tommy Gunn, distant. Like if you think about it, Rocky beat him up like right away, but then he turned his back on him. You know what I mean?
That's true.
So
but street fighting was perfect for Rocky.
Yeah, he could have done MMA. I think Rocky would have been number 1 in MMA over all of them.
Oh yeah,
But maybe, I don't know. Lang was from the streets too. I don't know. Right, but I got Lang 4, and then those are close to me. After that, like it's a distant 5th with Tommy Gunn, Union Kane, a distant 6, and distant 7, like way over there somewhere. Okay, is Mason the Lion Dixon, who obviously was considered such a weak champion that an old Rocky went a distance with him. Yep. Right. So that tells you everything. Not just old and washed up, but a Rocky with a bad eye from Rocky 2. Who couldn't fight southpaw anymore?
You know who was supposed to be Mason the Lion Dixon originally? Roy Jones.
That would have been awesome.
Yep,
that would have been great. But what are you gonna do? You remember the scene where Mason the Lion is talking trash to Mike Tyson?
Yeah,
they should have done. Dude, that would have been big. Like Mike Tyson versus Rocky. That would have. I don't know if the movie would have been any good, but that would have been a big box office hit.
Somebody said Spider Rico.
Spider Rico, he's up there, bro. Like he's a distant 8th somewhere.
Wasn't he like the busboy at Rocky's restaurant in the 6th one?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, he was still taking care of him and stuff. Now, before we go, Calix, some people put it on there, but Vernon Forrest 10 years ago, Alexis Arguello passed away.
Yeah, that was a tough
Alexis,
year, man.
now the Vernon Forrest murdered, right?
Yeah, at a gas station in
Yeah,
Atlanta.
murdered in a gas station. I think he was shot, or was he shot?
He was shot. Somebody tried to rob him, from what I
Yeah.
understand, and he challenged them, and they ended up shooting him. But that was a tough couple months for boxing. Vernon Forrest and Arturo Gatti,
But
back to back.
but just like the Forrest murdered, the Arguello one, it was announced a suicide, but he was involved in politics over there, so we don't really know.
Yeah,
Right?
it's weird. Stuff is weird, along with the Arturo Gatti thing is weird.
Now the Gotti one,
That was a tough one.
that was a tough one because of how it all happened and how uncertain the whole thing is. What do you remember from when you heard Arturo Gatti on the 11th, 10 years ago, passed away?
I remember being at my cousin's house and being like, "Man, what the? I got to be hearing this wrong. What the hell?" And Arturo Gatti, as people who follow my channel know, is my favorite of all time. My favorite fighter. He's one of the ones that got me passionate about boxing in the mid '90s. One of the reasons why I loved HBO Boxing After Dark. Just some great fights I remember. Just the Tracy Patterson fight, Wilson, the fights plural, Wilson Rodriguez, obviously the Mickey Ward trilogy, Ivan Robinson back to back, just the fights of the year. And obviously he was outclassed by some guys, Oscar De La Hoya, Floyd Mayweather, Angel Manfredi. But just what I remember from him, even in the bitter end with Gomez and Baldemir, is the heart, the human highlight film, him coming back off the canvas so many times, and just a warrior. And what drew me to him was that he bled. He was a vulnerable guy. It's the same thing that drew me to Cotto, is seeing Cotto come back from tough times and get hurt in fights, and he looked human. And I like guys like that who have talent and who have heart, and just always was a Gotti fan from the very beginning. From the first fight I saw him in on HBO Boxing After Dark, and he's the one who got me passionate about boxing. But yeah, obviously, I don't like how that ended, and from everything I've read, it doesn't look like a suicide to me.
Well, here's a couple things. There was blood on the back of his head. There was a pool of blood about 10 feet away from him, from where they found the body.
Mm-hmm.
And he allegedly hung himself with like a purse strap.
A purse strap, right.
And on like I don't even know how to word it, but it's kind of like where a staircase was, which it's kind of hard to kind of prove that, I guess. And it was inconclusive.
And not only that, they said that something with the key to the door, to the hotel door, was something was off with that as well. It just looked like they're hiding a lot down there, and they never did a correct autopsy. Just a lot of stuff that the Gotti family does not like with that. And
Exactly.
you always hear people, when somebody close to him commits suicide, oh, it couldn't be him. But it seems like they're very upfront that no, that definitely was not him. That could have committed suicide.
Well, to me, the evidence doesn't show that anyway. I mean, why would there be a pool of blood from away from where he hung himself?
Well, they from what I understand from one of the documentaries I saw, they kind of explained that, where he got into an argument with his wife out in public, and somebody threw a rock and hit him in the back of the head with the rock. So he was bleeding from that. But that's the only thing that they explained. They didn't explain anything else. There were so many unexplainable things to where it just does not look like a suicide. So, but nonetheless, what he gave us in the ring, I understand he's not elite level, top level of Floyd Mayweather, Manny Pacquiao, anybody like that, but just what he gave us in the ring, man, the fights. To me, that's what he taught us. It's not about the fighters, it's about the fights. I'd rather see two B-level guys go at it and give us a great fight than two A-level guys just give us a snooze fest any day of the week.
Well, he definitely gave us a lot of great fights, man. Forrest as well, and Arguello
Forrest as well. Definitely, Forrest was incredible.
Yeah, but man, that was a tough year. especially the way they died. You know.
Yep.
But that's that, man. That's tomorrow will be the 10-year anniversary when we found out Arturo Gatti was found dead. Calix, any final words before we wrap this up?
No, man. I would just wrap it up and saying go back and watch 4 and 5 back to back. There's no way you'll come out saying 5's better than 4. I'm sticking to my guns on that. And follow the channel, man. Calix Boxing, Calix Boxing. I got some videos coming in the podcast starting next week, so be on the lookout for that.
That's in the chat. All right, make sure you guys throw a jab at that like button. This was Calcast Wednesday. We're out.
Peace.
Peace.